what are some of the things outside of work that have motivated you to continually be successful in your career?
That's a good question, Dave. I think a lot of who I am was formed in my during my teenage years. My childhood dream was to be a competitive cyclist, to do bike races, and I did that for about 10 years. And those 10 years have taught me a lot early on. They taught me a lot of discipline and to train hard, and most importantly, it taught me to set ambitious goals. If you really want to achieve big things, then you have to set goals. You have to have clarity around what your goals are. You need to describe these goals, make them as tangible and as visual as possible, and then make a plan on what you need to do to get there. And then once you have a plan, execute that plan. And that's where the discipline comes in, right? To really get on the bike, rain or shine, snowstorm or hailstorm, doesn't matter. You get on the bike and you just you do train. And if you can't do it today, you better follow up tomorrow. You do more tomorrow, and then you see the results, and you celebrate wins as much as you learn from fails. And but the number one thing to me is to the laser focus on the goal, and that's kind of how I learned from early on key lessons that are still applicable today. And I think a lot of my way of working is really rooted in that experience.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. When you set goals, do you have different timelines of do you have like do you set multi-year goals and then bring them back, or like do you have a goal setting process?
Yeah, I mean it depends, right? I mean, you may have really long-term goals, right? So in 10 years I want to do XYZ, right? Then you probably want to break that down. There are probably certain milestones that get you there. Another thing where I learned a lot in my career was when I became a project manager. So I learned a lot going through the kind of the art and science of managing projects. So I went back to school and I got my certification from the Project Management Institute. And I learned so much to also applying this, right? And it has a lot to do with communication again, and the breakdown of work, the process of building a plan and then executing that plan. But I can give you an example. A few years ago, I really decided to pursue a bucket list dream of mine, which is to participate in a race called the Race Across America. So that's a 3,000-mile race from the US West Coast to the East Coast. Wow. And it's been held for the last 40 years. This is the 40th anniversary this year. And what it really requires is to have a plan how to get there. You have to be physically super fit. You have to be organized in terms of the crew, the support crew, and all the planning around this. And you break it down into work packages, right? One per work package is the training, the bike training. Another work package is the logistics. Another work package is working with support organizations and so on and so forth. But on the training side, the key is really to have a plan and things that you can measure. So I have specific goals, specific targets and milestones. So one of the milestones is end of March, or between the beginning of January and end of March. I knew I needed 2,000 miles of training. And then between April 1st and the event in June, I needed another 2,000 miles, but with more intensity. So I have a detailed training plan, and I'm executing this training plan on a week-to-week basis. And you can see like how I break down these things, right? I had this dream probably more than 10 years ago to participate in this race. Then 2 years ago, we really kind of started planning, assembling the team. And then late last year, when we were able to confirm all the support team and the writers, we started then building training plans and logistics plans and so on and so forth. And on the training plan, right, I broke it down not only into multiple months sections, but also into weekly sections with specific targets. So I know exactly at the end of the week, am I on track to meet my milestone? And if not, what do I need to do to change my plan to catch up? And for example, you have a week of bad weather. What's the plan B, right? And it's the same thing in business, right? If you can plan a project, and then there are certain things that come in unexpected. So you need to be able to deal with these challenges and quickly have a good team together that can work and reshuffle things to deal with the challenge, and ultimately be able to catch up to meet a certain deadline and so on and so forth.
It's cool because you're able to take your work experience and utilize that in your personal goals too, because some of the things that you've learned through project management are actually able to come into setting these big life goals. And so it's not always starting on your personal life, bringing it into your career. Sometimes what you learn over the course of your career can really enhance the goals that you set in your personal life. That's pretty magnificent. So you've been planning this for 10 years and you're going to do it this year?
Yeah, I think it was a dream for 10 years. The real plan started last year, and I will be doing it starting June 18th. Yes.
How long is that going to take you?
It's we plan to do it in 192 hours, which is 7 days.
Wow. It would take people longer than 7 days to drive across.
Well, we do it with a team of 4. To full disclosure, it's not a solo. I mean, there is a solo event, but
okay, so it's kind of like a relay.
It's a relay. So all full disclosure, I'm only riding about 750 miles, and everybody else, my 3 other team members will do the same thing, hopefully. But if one of us doesn't feel good, the other 3 know they have to pick it up. Right. So that's the contingency plan, and you have to be prepared for these.
Well, that's nice too, because I think that's the other thing about working together. You're taking an individual sport and making it into a team sport. And 750 miles, I mean, goodness gracious, that's a lot too. But now it's you are relying on others, because at work we got to rely on other people. Like, we can't do this alone. I don't think we can really do anything impactful on our own. Maybe there's a few things, but that's really cool. So it's a team sport, and the team is going to ride over 3,000 miles in 7 days.
Correct. Yes.
Wow. That's pretty amazing.
And we hold each other accountable every week, right? How much have you trained? Because the same thing. I mean, it has so many parallels with our work experience here, because we are in different states. We don't train together physically. We train together online, and we update each other. We keep each other abreast of our progress. There's great technology available that lets you track all of this. And so we can really rely on one another, because we don't want to get there in June and realize that one of us is not in good enough shape, because that means that the other 3 need to pick up the slack, and that's not a good start. It's going to be hard enough, but yeah.
That's awesome. So you could utilize technology, teamwork, planning, goals. I mean, project management,
in virtual setup.
All of it virtual. Exactly. Yeah. That's amazing. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing all that. That's really cool. That's fantastic that you're doing that. Goodness gracious. That's pretty amazing.